Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada. In episode 5, we speak with Jeff Krahel of Playbook Technologies on how Playbook is connecting coaches and fitness professionals with clients all around the world in creative, fresh, and innovative ways.
All right, great. So introducing a good friend of mine, Jeff Krahel, the CEO of Playbook. Playbook is an app that is for strength coaches, trainers to basically deliver their content. And I know I've been in the business for 19 years already. And the tough thing about what I do is no matter what you charge, Jeff, when you go on vacation, when you get sick, you're not making money. It's the toughest thing about being a coach. And you've almost kind of figured it out. There's a lot more companies out there. There are a lot of companies doing what you do, but not really. So Jeff, just you give us a little background on kind of where you started from and how you came up with this idea.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much for having me. The idea for Playbook, it was really timely because of where technology is today. But it's a marketplace. So there was two really significant needs that we thought on both the trainer side and also on the consumer side. And you have to get both of those right to really bring a successful marketplace together. I was a college athlete. I played sports my entire life. Was going to go to play college soccer, walked on the soccer team for a little bit. Then out of college into the workforce, I was in the investment space and I was doing the triathlon thing on the side. And when I started doing the triathlon thing, I moved up to the Ironman level and I started paying a pretty good dollar for my coaching. And my coaches would give me these god-awful emails in PDFs I try to execute and try to access a PDF program on your bike or during the swimming pool is not really easy. So I said, there has to be a better experience for this. And I reminisced on my days in college sports. And same thing, my coach would be giving me Microsoft Word documents. And I also remember when I was in high school and really into weightlifting, and college was really into weightlifting, my favorite fitness professionals, I would email them and say, hey, can I have your workout program? And they would fire me back this Excel spreadsheet. So it was pretty obvious that technology needed to enter the space for that need. And then on the trainer side, from a business standpoint, yeah, there's inherent issues, I guess, with the business model where it's one-on-one. So your time is fixed. You can only take on so many clients per day, and then clients cancel all the time. And it works the same way if you operate a classroom. So digital was really just an obvious thing. Mobile technology today is fantastic. And it was an opportunity to let individuals like yourselves build a digital income really in their pocket and connect with consumers all over the world.
So how's this product different though? Because there are apps out there and you can deliver training content. I mean, what do you think makes this so special beside the technology, obviously?
Yeah, because I know some people could just do it on Instagram and maybe have an image of the workout and then talk a bit about it. And what makes this better? Yeah, and there are thousands of fitness apps. There's a lot of them. So we didn't go in there to toss our hat in the ring and be the next fitness app. My background is in the investment space, so I spent a bit of time at a hedge fund, and then I worked in private equity and venture capital for about 5.5, 6 years. My partner as well. So when we started thinking about the idea, we really studied the industry inside and out. And all apps really do this. They don't really go the technology path. They kind of go the content path. And that creates a really, in my opinion, a very poor consumer experience. I mean, that's where we thought there was just a really tremendous opportunity. So what most fitness apps do is they bring a trainer or an influencer athlete. I mean, you can think back to the days of Jane Fonda on VHS, but you bring Jane Fonda into a production studio and you record her doing a workout. And then you would package that into the VHS, and then it graduated to DVD and then web, and now on apps today. And then you sell that to the consumer. And that did work well back in the day, but it was mostly supported by serious marketing dollars. Today, there's hundreds of thousands of hours of content uploaded to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook every single day. So the consumer dynamic has really changed. The quality of content that you can shoot by yourself, you don't need a production studio anymore, has really changed the health, fitness, and wellness industry.
And that's where we just saw a tremendous opportunity. So that was a long way to answer the question. We're the only two-sided marketplace in health and wellness. And what that means is we don't create any of our own content. All of our competitors, whether you want to call it Nike or you want to call it Under Armour, you name it, they record content in a studio and they control all of it. They edit all of it. They add music, and then they sell to the consumer. But just like a movie or a book or a DVD, consumers get tired of watching the same thing over and over again. And more than anything, consumers' health and fitness is really so much more than a video. It's other content related to nutrition and wellness and sleep and supplementation and all those things that you don't really get in any fitness app. And also there's an emotional connection. Myself, I really built this product for myself is I wanted to connect with Don. I wanted his motivation. I wanted more from him than just the workout. So we said there's a really special opportunity to use technology to connect consumers as close as possible to creators in health and wellness. And no one else really takes that two-sided approach.
Wow. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's, I'm not bashing a lot of these large companies, but, I have noticed that companies like Nike and Under Armour, whoever it might be, they're very good at what they're good at. And I think that's apparel and clothing and sneakers. And what I have seen is some of the content being put up there. You question, is it the actual best coach or practitioner? If I want to learn about running, don't go to Don Saladino, go to Derek Hansen. He's gonna, and it's clear. And my thing, and what I love about the app is you don't have one person trying to be the jack of all trades. You can actually go to the masters in each field. You can actually bring them aboard and give them an avenue to be able to now start monetizing their content and start becoming profitable. And, for any business person, that's what you want to do. It's motivating, and start delivering the content that you're great at. And, you can't be everything to everyone, but yeah, well, of course I would go to Playbook, to go, if Derek was on there to learn about running, or if Don was on there to learn about, strength and, body composition. And that's what I think is very cool about it, is you guys set up this platform that it's also very engaging. Not to get, I can ramble about this, but I did start and sell a digital media company probably about 7 years ago called Driven. And when I went in, I did a raise around, and the idea was to create this content around these super, super famous athletes. And at the time, you had Dwayne Wade, who won an NBA championship, and you had a guy by the name of Adrian Peterson, who just won an NFL MVP. And I did deals with both these guys. I did a deal with a golfer, a Hall of Famer by the name of Bernie Els, and I went in and I built these apps that were around these athletes, and they crushed it. Out of the gate, it was unbelievable. But like a roller coaster, you hit the top and then you start riding it down. And I literally saw myself go from number one in the App Store in two of the category, with two of my athletes, to really where it was almost a non-existent business. And I remember sitting there scratching my head and going, why? And it took me probably up to about a year ago until I met you, until when I looked at Neymar's app and other guys who probably had the same success level out of the gate, fantastic. And they just hit this brick wall. And I want to get your opinion on this, but I really feel like it was because of the engagement level, and it was about that back and forth. And when you're coming into Playbook now, you're really hiring a coach, and that coach is hanging with you the entire way.
To Don's point, the value proposition can be kind of thought about in a bunch of different ways. There was various angles that really we saw that said this product makes sense for so many reasons. Just the idea of connecting you with an expert across various domains in health, wellness, athletics. There's some running coach. There's hundreds, if not, there's thousands of kids across the country who are, training for high school sports who'd love to have access to specific expertise. So just that in and of itself made a lot of sense. But yeah, as part of building the marketplace, as I mentioned, you have to get both sides correct. And a lot of variables go into that. And, if you want to close the connection, or kind of the emotional gap, the expertise gap between the consumer and the creator, we'll call it, or the trainer, you have to make sure the business is optimized, or the technology is optimized to meet both of their needs. So consumers like direct connection and really novel content. We're really novel. Humans are driven by novelty. And then on the expert side, it has to be really easy to use. It has to be the right price point and efficient. And what Don was getting at is a lot of, I think, health and wellness experts, a lot of trainers, they want to sell digital products, and they should. And there's no wrong way to do it. It's just understanding the outcome. That's, for example, if you sell an ebook, you sell an ebook and you're an Instagram influencer, I think a lot of influencers go into, or a lot of trainers go into selling an ebook with the expectation that this thing is going to become a cash cow for them month over month. But really how it works in reality is you have an audience, and you're lucky if you convert, 1 or 2% of your audience. And that could be on your Instagram or your social, your emails. And then most of that audience converts in a specific period of time. And that's probably about a 2 to 8 week window, we'll call it, where that 1 to 2% will convert. And that's where the majority of your cash comes. So I'm getting it as a lot of people, I think, get discouraged by digital because they're expecting to put out a product and it's just going to be this perpetual revenue stream that exists forever. Really, when they just sold a fixed product that has a very clear shelf life, just like a movie or a book. So the way we built our platform is to enable trainers, experts, health and wellness creators to build a subscription income. So that income can really build for them month over month rather than being a one-time sale product.
Yeah. And how does that work in terms of the subscription? So if I want to learn about running, I would sign up with a certain trainer and then just kind of pay a subscription rate to follow them and get help by them.
That's correct. So it's just like Spotify. So the way Spotify works is you listen to, you make your playlist, you listen to songs, and you get access to all the artists. We do make it a little bit more about you and your creator, you and your trainer, but you do have really unlimited access to the platform, and it's a time-based system. So we to keep it simple, you get $5 per subscriber per month, or you get a revenue per month based off of your subscribers. And then if a consumer jumps around to the marketplace, then we just follow them around the app, and that's how we allocate their payments.
I think what's so interesting about it is, one, training, we've seen it. I've been a coach for the last, since 1999. We're going on 20 years now. I'm starting to feel old, but we've seen fitness change. We've seen it evolve. I started in that Equinox era when it went from a mom and pop to, almost a corporate empire, and one-on-one training really exploded. Functional training came to market, and now, we're going through this group training thing, which, I've got my viewpoints on. It's like anything else. I've seen some great group training and I've seen some terrible group training. Now, I think it really requires, Derek, and you can agree with this, or disagree, but a lot more quality control. When you're in a room with 20 people, your exercise selection suddenly should become minimized because you just don't know what you're getting in front of you. But what I love about this program is this literally enables you to, work with different coaches, different types of systems, and it's a very inexpensive price. So you're not going in there spending, even a Soul Cycle, which I think is a lot of fun and it's high energy, and but you're looking at 40 to whatever it might be, 40 to 50 bucks a bike, and people are in there right now, New York City pumping, 3 to 5 classes a week. This isn't inexpensive here. I really think that subscription model is bringing something really interesting to the table, because even if you can afford a coach or afford to go into group training at that caliber, no one is doing it. Very, very few people are doing it 365 days a year. We have travel, we're in hotel gyms. You might, live in a home with a gym complex. You might just want to go to your own gym, and to have this on your handheld device and be able to go in and work with a world-class coach, I think special. And it's also going to enable you to be versatile. And if you're with a good coach, which will be on Playbook, you're going to minimize that risk of injury.
And I was going to say, how awesome is that? Is that where it's really an incredible, it's an incredible time. Technology today is unbelievable. iPhones are incredible. And just because of social media, because of the iPhone, Don can share his expertise with individuals in Asia and in Europe. And that's really incredible. So the ability to get that level of education, that level of access to expertise, globally for a very reasonable price, to us that's what makes us so excited about building this business.
And actually get some customer service too, Derek. I mean, it'd be pretty awesome. I mean, some people don't, they don't know. It's not what they do for a living. I think that's something, and I talk to my team about it, don't take for granted that people, people aren't in the environment that we're in, and they don't understand it. When they're feeling pain, they don't know that they should go to a doctor. It seems like a very simple thing to do, but they're writing and they're saying, well, what exercises should I do to fix my tendonitis? And you're able to give them advice like, listen, if you're having pain, you should go to a physical therapist or an orthopedist. Find out what the diagnosis is, and then you should have them almost prescribe to you specific movements to do to clear that up. And that's an answer I give 10 out of 10 times when someone contacts me. So it's not always sitting there trying to push the program down their throat, but as a professional, wanting to spread the love and wanting to spread that good information and really become somewhat of a thought leader. And that's what I love about it. You got these coaches on there that are able to come in and curate their own little style of teaching and their style of programming and their style of communication. That's really, Derek, you and I talked about that last week with Brett. And, I think we're embarking on a very interesting era right now where this is going to explode. No matter what level you're at, you're going to be, traveling with some sort of an app on you where you're going to be able to do some sort of programming.
It was interesting. I had somebody email me, a mom in Pakistan, about her kid, because I had written an article about how, my kid sucks, he's slow, and how do I make him faster, right? So I get an email from Pakistan, and I'm like, okay, well, just send me some video, because I'm curious, right?
Right.
And it shows, I get the video of her kid, and I'm like, oh, God, he's horrible. But yeah, there's people everywhere who need help and guidance. And the question I have for you guys is, what parameters do you provide for experts or coaches when they provide their content or their videos? And have you had to change the way you deliver stuff in this medium, Don?
Jeff, why don't I let you take that first? Because you're the one who's been vetting. I mean, I know I'm fortunate to be a part of Playbook, but you're the one who's been vetting a lot of the coaches. And I know there's a direction it's going to go in, but I'll let you take this one first.
And was the question about how do you support the coaches to help them?
Yeah. Like, do you have parameters? Like, this is how long your videos should be. This is, how you should shoot them. Just basic guidelines for people rather than just letting them do whatever.
Absolutely. And, I really have to give hats off to our team. We have really, really fantastic, product team. And we've thought a lot. We've been working on this for a while, really deeply in the industry, working with individuals like Don, just to really understand how they want to share content. But really, you come to our platform, and we help you think through the type of content you should be creating. The type of content based off of, for example, if you're a yoga professional or you're in meditation or Pilates, you're likely going to have longer form video because that's really what the consumer experience needs. An individual like Don, consumers don't really want to watch him they want to see him bench pressing for a period of time, but not for minutes. So we really optimize the experience based off of consumer preferences and based off of what the creators need to share. And we're pretty good now. We're very good now at understanding really what your needs are when you come onto the platform.
One thing that I was a little confused with early on was when we kind of joined arms to do this project together, just because of where I came from with Driven and how we went about doing things. It was a huge production. You came in, big video team, editing, and what's great about it is you get this exceptional quality, but what's terrible about it is that, a couple of weeks later, when someone gets you that content, it's still good, but it's just not new and shiny, and you're not really able to bring anything to the table anymore. So I had a tough time digesting early on that you could shoot really good phone quality with the iPhone. And, then since then it's been right. the 8 and the X, and now it just keeps getting better and better. But what I love about it now, Derek, honestly, is I work out almost every day, and every day I'm able to video content, and I'm able to give content to people. Because there's so much stuff. Even on my Instagram, I'm doing a hashtag Don365. And I told everyone I will give a different exercise every day of 365 days this year. And that'll be easy, as you know. There's thousands in the book, but every day, yeah. Some days are mobility. Some days are breathing. Some days safety bar squatting or doing a chest supported row. It could be something really, basic, but every day I just want to be able to give that content. And, if I was taking the mindset that I used to take years ago, we wouldn't be able to deliver that content. We wouldn't be able to deliver that good information. And it really is special to be able to take your coaching ability now from where it used to be just one-on-one, and you would only really influence, 15 people a week. If you were doing 40 to 50 sessions a week at that number, now I'm able to sit there and influence thousands and thousands of people. And I feel like if we continue to put good content out there and we have the right coaches doing it, not to sound corny, man, but the world's going to be a better place. You know what I'm saying?
Everything is shot with your iPhone. So we built Don for example, as an application. Every expert or trainer has their own application and that's a content creation tool for them. So we make it really easy to shoot iPhone content and to upload it. And really that's from the consumer side too. The consumers have had decades of studio produced, and this is a bit of opinion, but just from what we see, consumers really love it. Consumers have had decades of studio produced 4K content, scripted videos. And that goes back to the Jane Fonda VHS, and that can seem very disconnected in today's environment. So consumers love, the iPhone quality is fantastic, and consumers love that video content and that connection with Don. So it's definitely a special in that regard.
And does do Android as well? Because I know we had problems with that. We're like, oh, our podcast is on iTunes. We're like, what about the Android people? Do they work on other smartphones?
Android, not yet. Don can attest to this. We get a lot of requests for Android, but that'll come soon.
You know what, Derek, with Android, and I didn't understand fully the process, because what Jeff created with Playbook was way different than what I created with Driven. And there was so much communication and building this community within the app. So being able to do things like gift workouts to people, being able to develop that community by doing healthy selfies where you can take pictures with specific banners under the picture and share it with people and motivate people, were things that we never had to do. So when I came aboard and I thought here I thought Android was going to launch, Jeff was right. I mean, he's 100% right. He's like, we got to nail this first, because it's one thing to troubleshoot on one system, but doing it on two different ones, it's going to be twice as costly, take twice the amount of time. So right now, what they're trying to do is just put out this incredible product, make sure it's user-friendly, continue to take the data from, subscribers and the feedback from subscribers, because we're listening to them every day and saying, how can we make your experience better? And then when it's time to do Android, we're able just to spit it out and build that hopefully pretty easily. But I am with a smile on my face, I am waiting for it.
Nice. I had a question, being the anal retentive guy I am. What are the legalities and the things like liability with this type of thing where you're providing information over a device? There was that video I sent you, Don, last night. It was the Achilles rupture of the woman who was doing the whatever, dancing or jumping up and down in her living room, blew out her Achilles. And, do we worry about that type of stuff happening?
No, I think, that stuff's in your basic T's and terms and conditions in the App Store. But if you think about it, from magazines to the other thousands of apps on the App Store, there's no, you got to be careful. You got to make sure you have the right terms and conditions on your application, but that's not something that's in our wheelhouse.
It's kind of the buyer beware anyways, I assume.
Yes. And you always want to make sure you're doing responsible, and there's rating systems in our product. So if someone is doing a poor job or not explaining things well or performing them poorly, consumers have full discretion to give them feedback. We monitor all of that. So we do pay close attention to make sure that the consumer is getting a fantastic experience.
Also, another thing, Derek, this is what I want to get your experience on is, I know at our club here, Drive 495, that injuries are going to happen by, any athlete. Freak things just happen. But you see them happen a hell of a lot worse on your watch or on my watch. And it comes down to programming. I mean, what we saw the other night, I don't want to, mention the person's name who that went through, but we see it a lot. It's this very fluffy group training experience where, I'm going to quote Charlie Weingroff. He he calls it, people are doing it for the entertainment effect. And they say they want to get better, but they're really just about getting the sweat. I'm all about catching a sweat. I love it. It's a great feeling. But people also need to realize that there's specific movements that you should be doing, and there's specific movements that we shouldn't be doing. And the three of us have a different, workout menu. You might look at me and say, Don, you shouldn't press overhead because you have poor external rotation in your shoulders. And that's, maybe I'm getting there. But, I think that having a good coach who can deliver content is going to understand that. Having someone who just puts out a class, or they're like cheerleaders. I mean, I have to dive into this a little bit right now. It's happening. They're hiring a lot of these models, really good looking trainers with great bodies, and they're cheerleaders. They're getting up in front of a group of 30, 40, 50 people, and they're just pushing them and putting the throttle down. It's like, well, let's just turn the heat up to 110, play loud music, put the room full of good looking people, and we've got a good product. And it sucks. It really does, because you are out there almost, I don't want to say battling with this, but you are having to have a lot of discussions with a lot of people that, like, listen, I've got no problem with you going and getting a group sweat, but training needs to be thought about a little bit differently. I mean, when we're running a group environment, or when we're building, when I'm building workouts for Playbook, we are taking into consideration that, okay, maybe we're not going to do a lot of back squatting, where you go to the video and we're doing a lot more double kettlebell front squats or goblet squats or specific movements. Once in a while, when we have a power building program, we mix it in there, but people got to understand that it's not a one size fits all either.
Yeah, because right now I have a speed skater who's going to the Olympics, American speed skater. And so he was in Calgary, and then he's in Utah, and now he's in Germany. And we're doing the conventional sort of WhatsApp message back and forth, email once in a while. Maybe I share a video through another means, and it can be cumbersome. So how do we get people onto this platform? What are you doing right now, Jeff, in terms of building awareness and trying to expand the network?
Yeah, so from the life cycle of the business, the first really, say 1.5 to 2 years was marketplace technology is a pretty hard thing to build. As I mentioned with, if you're thinking about the Nike apps and those guys, those are fantastic products, but they really just focused on a single application, where what we had to do was very hard early on was build two very high quality applications. We had a great experience, a consumer experience. We had to have a great experience for Don, for individuals like Don. So we built the core software foundation, and now we'll be much more, 2018 will be much more focused on branding. So we recently released a feature that Don can hit a button, and every time he publishes a new piece of content or a new workout, he can repost that, shoots out to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. We'll do a lot more in terms of PR. So we were just in Men's Fitness, the second best fitness apps of 2018. So a lot more PR. Hopefully a lot more of this stuff. We'll start doing a lot more, social media marketing. That's what a lot of these companies do in the space. So really the traditional things and in creative ways and events to, really to bring the community together. But at the core of our business is, what can we do? Is it events? Is it, what type of experience can we do to foster the offline and the online experience? How do we bring individuals like Don as close as possible to their consumer? So that's always at the forefront of what we're thinking.
Yeah. Is there looking to expand? Are you guys looking to expand into even the sports realm? Because I know for myself, I have to speak at the NFL Combine. So I get a lot of people hitting me about, how do I run a faster 40? And then I could think of quarterback coaches, golf coaches, anything to do with any skill, soccer, that's in your wheelhouse, the soccer crowd, learning skills for soccer. Is that something that could expand within Playbook?
Absolutely. That's our full intention, is to really be a platform for health, wellness, and fitness creators. But you have to make sure you're doing it, as Don mentioned, with quality. And, our tough job is we just have to make sure that the creators are having a great experience and the consumers are. So we'll gradually be extending into other verticals. But we can't wait to have lacrosse players on there and soccer players on there. And, we did some content with a rock climber in there, and her audience was extremely engaged and loved the content. So there's really there's a broad mixture that we can go. We just want to make sure that we're making sure the experience is fantastic for both sides of the market.
Yeah, because I know of other like emerging sports. Like I help out this guy who has a parkour gym, and he's talking about how he wants to get more information on how to teach kids how to do it properly for safety reasons. And so I think there's a lot of potential.
Absolutely, and that's just a general trend too of where the world's going. I think consumers in general they've had decades of that kind of studio produced content, and because of social media just really changed everything. You could be in China and leave Don an Instagram message and a DM or comment on one of his posts, and he can respond back to you. So consumers are looking more and more towards these models where they can interact with the creator of their choice, and that kind of area of expertise that they're looking for. And we, our job is to make sure we're doing the best job in that health, wellness, and athletics community.
One thing I wanted to ask is I am not on Playbook right now, but I want to get on it, and I want to, be a provider. What's the best way to do that right now?
So you can go to our website, which is playbookapp.io, or you can just click on our Instagram handle, which is playbook_app. And then there's an apply button on the creators page, and you just shoot us. You fill out very basic information, and then we then we get in touch with you.
Okay. Well, I know I'm gonna jump on that right away, and I'll probably use Don as a bit of a consultant to help me through it. Guide, how should I do my hair, Don? What should I wear?
I love it. I think what's great about it is the quality of video has just gotten so much better now. And where in the past, I'll admit, there's a lot I've done wrong in life, and there's specific things that I've definitely changed my ways of thinking on, but you can get a very, very good explanation from video. And yeah, does it get a little difficult to coach Olympic lifting on a video? Sure, but you can learn it. And, people now, it's a really simple answer. They'll message me and they'll say, well, how do I know I'm doing it right? And I'm like, listen, take a video of your iPhone, use the hashtag suit up with Don. I'll give you some feedback on it. We're able to go in there myself and actually get feedback, whether it's good or bad, or I might just say, make sure you're doing exactly the way that I'm doing it. And then they're able to even dive in deeper, Derek, and say, well, for some reason, when I'm squatting with a bar on my back, my heels come up. And I'm like, okay, probably shouldn't be squatting with a bar on his back. I'm like, why don't we try this variation? I'll put a video up for you. I'll put a post up for you. This is something that we can do in high volume now, with social media. This is content. Anytime someone asks for that, I mark it in my book. It may not go out the next day. I've got a list of things to do, but I'm suddenly delivering this content to people day in and day out, and we're actually answering their wishes. And they're like, holy shit, you answered me. Like, you actually exist. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not a famous person. I'm here to basically try and help you out. And I think with that approach is where what really impressed me with Playbook, and where, a lot of our coaching now, we are able for once to get out to the masses and still offer a very high quality product.
Yeah, I think that interactivity is huge. I know even getting somebody to take a video of themselves, for me, I have to tell them what angle, how far away and stuff a lot of the time, especially for running or some complex movements. I have to almost do a little tutorial on how to shoot your video before you fire it back to me. So that type of stuff would be interesting as well.
I think for the user, like putting myself in my shoes, or our intention from the beginning was, you're never going to get, Don's like, eat broccoli and chicken every day and then do this every day. You're going to adopt those things. It's going to be a gradual process for most individuals. That's exactly how I am. You'll share your running expertise, and people will start to get 10, 20, 50, 75% of that, and gradually get better and better. So that's the whole idea, is you have access to the expertise. Of course, you're not going to look like that overnight, and nor you're not going to pick up on every detail, on the first video, the first piece of content you watch. But you're getting the, no pun intended, but the playbook directly from them, and you're going to pick up on and get better and better over time. And that's the whole intent.
It's funny too, because everyone's at so many different levels. And right. I was communicating with this woman today. She started following me. This woman, I told you about her, Laura Summers. She started following me about 3 years ago. I mean, she was 872 pounds, and she just weighed in this week at 449 pounds over the last 3 years. And this was a woman with a heart condition, cardiomyopathy. And she, when we started our walking challenge, she couldn't walk 2,500 steps in a day. And, now I'm on the phone with different treadmill companies to see if they'll send her a treadmill for us to be able to take her to the next level, because she can't walk outside in the cold now. But something as simple as walking, everyone's always under this. I watched Rocky 1. I watched the first Rocky with my 9-year-old son last night. And probably one of my favorite movies of all time. You get the first few Rockies are unbelievable, but it really, in a way, set a good but also a bad precedent on how training should be. Because people think about it, at a client coming today, this Rocky mentality, and it's always about racing up the mountain in Russia with a log on his back and fighting Drago and getting the living shit kicked out of him. But they never show, they hardly show Rocky, sitting in the bed for 6 months after he fought. I mean, well, actually it's a bad example because they actually did, I think, in Rocky 2 after he fought Apollo Creed. But, people don't really revert back to that and think about, wait a second, this guy trained like that, but he has to rest like that. And it's always, even in magazines, here's the program, and people just assume I got to go 100% intensity at it. So now to actually have someone to coach you and to give you feedback and say, no, like we're starting off this first month of this program at about a 70% RPE, a 70% intensity. Like, well, that's really easy. Well, it was really easy. Yeah, I want it easy. And actually teaching people to think and understand that we can throttle up a little bit when we're feeling great. But, when you just flew in overnight and, you're dehydrated and maybe we're partying a little too much over the weekend, we should probably downshift a little bit. So I think what's special about that is we're able to actually fill people in on the real important information, and that's intensity, because everything's always been about the program. And it's always like, go, 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 go. And you end up hurting a lot of people.
Yeah. And that's to add to that point, a little bit is done. One of the things that I built this product for myself because this is exactly how I am. And I'm sure, most people are like this. Is I'd watch a movie like Rocky and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work out so hard tomorrow. And maybe I would work out, but I'd forget about that movie in about 2 days. It's just like that magazine where you pull that program out there and I'm going to do this for, maybe 72 hours. The reason why we're so excited about Playbook is you get, Don is publishes a new piece of content. You get a push notification. You get an intro video from him. You're getting motivation and quality content week after week because he really lives inside. There's a real connection there. And we're hoping over the long run that really allows people to break through and stay consistent over the long run. So, yeah.
I agree. Well, that's what I love about it.
Well, and it almost sounds like this is a good platform for you to even counsel people a bit. Like you talk about people wanting to go hard, or maybe they might feel like they're lacking enthusiasm. This is a way to kind of talk them through it as well. That interactivity is pretty important.
That's everything today. I mean, that's really what we see the world is going, and that's what consumers want. I know, speaking for myself personally, that's what I want. I'd love to, am I doing this right? And if there's any, Don's open to me submitting a question to him and he's going to reply. And that's an amazing experience. I can keep getting education. I can keep getting motivation. So that engagement is really everything. And that's what we'll continue to focus on as we build out the product, is just bring you as close as possible to Don and hitting on the motivation and the expertise and all those things that go into that really go into health and wellness. That's all that stuff goes into the pot to give you the good outcome.
I think it's pretty observant of Jeff, because even though he does have an athletic background, you're not really a fitness professional. You weren't a trainer, but you understand that it's not always a one size fits all, and that the community, that engagement is how you can almost curate content that's scalable to that individual. Because I'm getting it every day now. I get people asking me questions about, a specific movement, and back squatting is a great example, and they'll send me a video and I'll be like, don't do back squats. I did a post the other day about goblet squats 3 days ago. Go check it out. Really? That's great. Yeah, I actually like it a little bit better for opening up your hips. And I'll give a quick takes me 10 seconds of my day, and you've suddenly just done better for someone. Because training should help you. It should put you in a better shape. And what it actually does for a lot of people, and this is the feedback that I get outside of here, is that they start doing it and they feel great for a period of time, 6 months, a year, and they're running on this adrenaline, and out of nowhere, they're like, but you know what? My knees are bad and my shoulder's bad, and that got worse. And I'm like, speaking to a bodybuilder, I talked to one the other day. I'm not going to mention his name. A pro on the Olympia stage. And I'm like, how's it going? He's like, great, no injuries. And I'm like, That's the first thing that's going to come out of your mouth. Like you're training, you're supposed to be in good shape. Like the first thing you tell them, like your training's great because you have no injuries. Like think about the mindset. I'm seeing way too much of this. I'm seeing way too many. It's okay for them to come in and be beaten up, but they're not going to get in worse shape by coming into me. They're not going to be leaving after a few weeks saying, well, my elbow, my knee, and my ankle now. When I went in there, I was great. I wasn't as fit, but my joints were good. Now my joints are worse. To me, that's not training. That's working out. Training is putting some thought behind it and making sure that there is a coaching component behind that program.
The one thing I wanted to ask too, I know that Don sometimes does sort of a live broadcast and people ask him questions. Is there support for that type of thing to do like more of a live sort of interaction?
So we don't have live broadcast yet. Right now we're focused on, it's called a semi-real-time on-demand experience. So it's Don will create content or push it out and they get it almost instantaneously. So right after he completed it, but they can comment and message with him, and he gets those messages and interaction in real time. So
okay.
The engagement aspect is all, every time someone leaves a comment, sends a message, Don's getting that on his phone. But as far as live streaming his content or live streaming Q&A, that's not a functionality we have inside the product.
You feel like it's going to go there in the future? I mean, you look at this Peloton model now, and now Peloton's coming out with the treadmill, and you're seeing this absolutely explode. And now I'm hearing about other group components that are going to do this live streaming model. Is that something that you feel like, Peloton's proving there is a marketplace for it, but do you think that's going to get sticky and it has some legs, or do you feel like you just got to focus on what you're focusing on?
There's a place for live stream, of course. There's an interview on Google of John, I believe his name is John, that's the CEO of Peloton, and they're the biggest live stream company in the world, and they're the best in the health and fitness space. And about 20% of their audience watches live stream. 80% of their audience watches semi-real time on demand. What that means is consumers love waking up and watching a class that's fresh or new, but on their schedule. About only 20% of their entire audience will actually watch live stream. So live stream is not our core focus yet. We will certainly look to offer something in time, but it's just not the crux of the experience that consumers that we believe are looking for today. They do like it new, they do like it fresh, but they do like it new and fresh on their time, not necessarily on someone else's time.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying it out. I'm going to jump on right after we get off this chat here and just kind of navigate and troubleshoot a bit and see if I can get on there right away.
Should be easy. And of course you can ping us anytime with questions and suggestions.
Jeff, and let me know too, because, Derek over here is a strength coach. I mean, he's a big time purist, and I want to know if he's doing some of the, some of the Taibo workouts or the,
Derek, I'm just totally going to plagiarize your info.
Who's he going?
But I'll just say A after it for the Canadian followers.
Derek's gonna lie. Derek's gonna lie to me, Jeff, and say that he signed up for me. He's gonna end up signing up for like someone else completely. All right. Feedback on that,
Absolutely. And Don, maybe you touch upon you train some pretty fantastic individuals.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't say this is exactly so-and-so's programming, but you pretty much do.
But it is. I mean, it's one of those things where I've always been very protective over the people that I work with, whether it's, I'll mention some names, Ryan Reynolds or Blake or Scarlett Johansson, because I've worked with in the past, Hugh Jackman I've worked with in the past, probably 50 listers. And what I do is, maybe I'm not turning around and saying, this is so-and-so's workout, but I've got workouts. I've got 1,000 templates that I saved up, and some I love more than others. And what I'm doing is I'm taking those templates and I'm putting them on Playbook, and I'm allowing the people to actually use them. So, where in the past I turned around and I took, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool workout, and he gave me permission to talk to, say, a Men's Health. Now I'm going to be offering it all year long on the Playbook app. So people are going to have access to the same programs, not only what they do, but what myself and my team does. And, it's very thought out. It's a lot of fun. And the coolest thing is the feedback. I mean, I get individuals saying that they jumped off, they were like, oh, I was on a plane. I got off a plane. I felt tired. And the next thing you know, I'm creating a post-airplane workout, which was, 10 minutes in your hotel room. So it's just cool to be able to get the feedback from people and be able to build also not only what you want to build, but what they're looking for, and put some smart programming.
Yeah. And Derek, so as the cool part about control, we don't create our own content. There's no, we don't have the production studio. So Don, there's a serendipity effect of it. And there's also, you can include other experts and friends in your content. So a handful of times Don has included some individuals. So I don't know if you for those who've seen any of the Marvel movies, he's got a couple pieces of content with Sebastian Stan, which is awesome. You get to work out with the Winter Soldier. We got to have plenty of content with David Harbour, who's going to be the lead in the new Hellboy movie. He's in Netflix's popular show Stranger Things. So that's another cool aspect of it as well, is that you can bring in, whether it's your clients, whether it's your friends or other experts, you can bring them into your content experience as well. And that's just even more value for your end user.
Yeah. Because right now I'm just putting together a product on how to train for the NFL. Some of the teams I've worked with, I haven't mentioned the teams, but really the philosophy doesn't really change, and that can, transfer over to almost anybody. But, it's having that ability to say, this is the program, this is what it looks like on paper, but these are the reasons why I chose this exercise or this progression. I'm trying to do that in a product, and it's very difficult because I can send somebody a PDF file, like you said, but then I have to have some sort of discussion around it. So I have to have a video. And so now it becomes like 3 or 4 different mediums that I have to send through to somebody. It's just kind of echoing what you said about the support of the platform and having a way to, convey messages through different mediums and really fully support somebody rather than just sending them a workout and hoping it goes well.
And that's the balance of it, is that individuals like yourself or experts, anytime you have to do something that's customized, that inherently means that you can't really scale it. So you deserve, and you have expertise that should touch a global consumer. So it's not that you want to make it dulled down for the masses. You want to share your best expertise and your best content, but they just have to make sure that they're being thoughtful and saying, okay, I have to make sure I'm doing what he's telling me, and be honest with myself with what I can or can't do. So you can reach everybody. And that's, so Don doesn't put his weights, I'm squatting 400 pounds on the application. He says, do the best that you can, do 60% of your max or whatever it is. So you're taking the time to share your expertise. And it's impossible to try to accommodate for everyone, but you'll do your best through engaging. And then they need to make sure that they're adapting to your content based off of where they stand.
And having said that, is it easy enough to transfer files? So if I did actually have to send a PDF file to somebody, they could do it through the app, so they can print it out at home if they needed to?
It's really video and text focused, where there's no file uploading. You can link to files and sell files through the application.
Oh, okay. That's great.
But we don't have a kind of a PDF generator. You can't make your own PDF on there, but you can link to a PDF that they can download through the product.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to mess around with it. Anytime it's, technology focused, I'm interested. And,
Derek, give us some feedback on it too. I think that's what, the thing I love about working with Playbook, the guys, is we probably speak, Jeff, I think you and I probably speak 3-4 days a week, literally. I mean, we meet probably
whether I have a choice or not, but yeah.
It's normally because of me, because they're, I'm learning a lot from them. But I think once a week, like we're sitting down tomorrow, and it's been, well, Don, what do you like about, what don't you like about the last, 6-7-8 months, it's been like that. And just the amount of time they've been able to turn things over, and actually, oh, wow, it's a good idea. Let's make that adjustment, is something in the tech world. It's not that easy to do. So, I mean, I'd say the technology seems it's pretty close. I mean, I'm sure there's little tweaks that we're going to make along the way, but right now it's pretty damn good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get some great content out there to people, and I'm really excited for the feedback. But there's nothing better in my line of work, and Derek, you can attest to this, than seeing someone improve, whether it's getting them to their goal of running a faster 40, 100, whatever the hell it is, or me, it's having them send me a picture saying, thanks for the motivation. Look what I've done in the last 4 months. I'm down 50 pounds because of you. Wow. Like to me, that's probably one of the coolest things that I can receive out of my job. So just being able to do that for more and more people now, that's a reward in itself.
Yeah. And you may never meet them in person, but you've connected with them through technology.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's the last thing I'll say about us too, is really to sell the platform. We're creator focused more so than consumer focused. We know that the consumer wants to connect with Don, not necessarily us. So we love working with Don and everyone else and building for the creators to make sure it's as efficient as possible, to make sure it's the best experience possible. We have fantastic training. And really the technology is in a pretty incredible place. I think anyone new who uses it, says how thoughtful it is and how simplistic it is at the same time. So, our mission will always be, how do we empower individuals like Don to make the biggest and most meaningful impact possible.
Great. So we'll make sure to post all of your info, website info, and how to get a hold of the app when we post the podcast.
That sounds good. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Jeff, good luck, man. Keep killing it, brother.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.